Okay, this is the how to make your own hockey cards tutorial. To make your own hockey cards, you need three things. You need a card that you're going to copy, you need your team logo, and a picture of the player that you want to put on the card. First thing you need to do is get rid of the existing player picture that is on the card. Uh, a lot of times an easy way to get rid of stuff in Photoshop is to use that magic wand tool to select things and then hit the delete key. Unfortunately, in something like a picture of a person, it doesn't work so well. So the thing that I do is I use that magic wand to select the parts of the card that I want to keep. You can select multiple parts on PC and Mac, should be the same, using the Shift key. And then you go to Select Inverse, and it selects everything that's not selected. Hit Delete, and it gets rid of that main chunk of card right there. Now you're left with some open areas that you need to fill in with things. You can either use the fill tool, which I'm using right here. It does not do a great job for it. What you do is you select color with the little eyedropper. You just hover over the color that you want already like in the image, and it'll add that to be the color you use. And it does a pretty good job. What I usually just wind up doing though is using the paintbrush, and you can go and adjust the size of the paintbrush and make it kind of as large as you need without going into the main body of the card and just painting over everything. That's usually the easiest way to do it. So there you go. You have kind of a blank for a card right there. You can save that off if you want to have that ready to go. Now the next thing you're going to do is get your logo that you're going to have. Just get your whole logo. If you go to Select All or hit Control A on a PC and copy it, and then just paste it in onto the new image there, you'll see it's probably the wrong size, which is fine. You can go through and change the size of that. You can use what's called Free Transform. It's in the image options there, or I know in Photoshop it's just Control T will give you that. And if you hold down the Select key, it will keep the proportions the same, so you don't have to worry about making it look all funky when you adjust the size of it. So just adjust the size to what looks good, and just kind of move it around the card to where you want it. Once you have this part done, you kind of have the pretty much the basics done of your new card. One of the other things to notice here is if you notice over on the right hand side, it does make this in what's called a layer. It's a Photoshop thing. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Do the exact same thing now with your player photo, where you just select the whole thing, paste it into your card, and adjust the size and where it is. You can adjust the size for however you want, if there's only a small portion of that you want on the card, or if you need the whole thing. You can do that however. This is where you can get kind of creative with how you do that stuff. So, and you'll notice too, it sticks it on top of the card. This is where those layers come back in. If you move them around, as you can see I'm doing on the right there, that's the order that they appear in. They kind of stack on top of each other. So you want to have your player photo all the way on the bottom always, and then anything like a logo or when we get to the name and stuff, that's always going to be on the very top. So there you go. That's almost a complete card that we have done here. Now we're just going to add, go ahead and add a little bit of text to it. There's a text tool that you just hit. You can select the color of your text. All the way at the top there, you see I've selected the color black. You can change your font, whatever you want for it, and it's just typing. Nothing to it. Usually player name is what you put. Put whatever you want, and it works the same as the other stuff. When you're done, you can do that free transform to adjust the size of it and even adjust the placement for where you want the text. You can make it do fun things too if you want. You can kind of put it at an angle or whatever if you want to change the look of the card. So there you go. There's a card. The next thing you might want to do is actually go through and change the colors so they reflect more of the colors of your team. That's really easy to do. All you do is actually, this is when we're going to use the fill. See, I'm just using the eyedropper guy again there to get colors off of my actual logo. And I just filled in everything on that layer. See, I selected the layer on the right, and I'm using that fill tool and going through on the top and bottom of the card and putting two different colors in there. Real easy to do with that. And there you go. This, to me, this would be a completed card. If you want to have a completed player card, you could do this and really easily swap out pictures behind it and change that layer of text there to anybody's name very, very easily. Now, if you want to do backs of cards, all you do is make a new document 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches, because that's the size of a hockey card. So just do that. I also changed the resolution to 300 DPI. You see I just rotated it there. That was an image rotation. And you can do whatever you want here. You can add text. If you are more comfortable using like a word processor, you could add text there and copy and paste it into here. You can add images if you want to add a player's face or something to it, or more logos, or whatever you want. You can put whatever you want here on the back of the card. So whenever you're done with it, just go back into the image rotation and change it 90 degrees again, so it is the same orientation as your player card, and you're ready to make your sheets of cards. And for making a sheet of cards, all you do is you're going to make an 8.5 by 11 document, because that's the size of a piece of paper, so that's usually what I printed at. You can make it a different size if you're going to print it on a different thing. I just find this to be easier. And you're going to place, you're going to get a sheet of 9 out of one sheet of paper. And I found the easiest way to do that is to use what's in Photoshop called lock guides. I know that they have the same thing in Paint.net and GIMP. I'm not sure what they're called, if they're not called lock guides, but they're lock guides here, and you're going to want horizontal and vertical ones. And the numbers you put in just kind of correspond with the sizes of the cards, because you're going to have 3 columns and 3 rows, and the width of the columns is going to be the width of your card, which is 2.5 inches, and the height of your rows is going to be 3.5 inches. That's the height of your cards. And the gutter, it's called, is the gap between everything. And if you have 3 cards going across, that gives you 7.5 inches, but you have 4 gaps, and then an 8.5 inch sheet of paper. That means you're going to have 4 1/4-inch gaps. Much like the rows, it's going to be 0.125 inch gaps between everything. So once you have those done, that is there, so it's real easy. So the front and back line up when you put it all together, so that when you print them out, everything's aligned. Otherwise, when you print them out, you're kind of doing it freehand, and you'll wind up with them bleeding over each other a little bit, or being off-center from each other, which is not good. So all you do after you have that set in there is you go get all your card fronts that you've made, and you're going to do that same thing that we did with the other photos, where you do a select all, copy them, and paste them over into this new sheet document, and just keep pasting until you have 9 of them on there. Arrange them whatever order you want, and then you're going to do the same thing with the card backs. Just select the whole thing, paste them onto there. But just remember, because the front and the back are going to be reversed from each other, your left and right sides are going to be reversed. So the card that you have in your top left corner is going to be in your top right corner for the backs. So just make sure you flip that around properly. Other than that, then you're all set to go. You should be able to save off your front and your backs of cards on separate sheets. And you can either print them off at home. I recommend kind of doing a test print at home in black and white before you do anything else, just to make sure that you've got everything kind of lined up and it looks right. But yeah, you can either just print them off on paper, or you can print them off on like kind of cardstock at home. Or what I've done is send them over to a place like a Kinko's or something like that, and had them printed on really thin cardstock, and just give them the front and back. And I kind of you just number them usually, front one, back one, front two, back two, and that's it. You'll pick them up. You have to cut them out. There's a little bit of white space between them because they're the size of actual baseball cards, 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So that's all you do. Get those, cut them out. You can either use scissors, or I do highly recommend if you can get your hands on one of those giant paper slicers like they use in grade schools. That makes it go super, super easy, and you can do a bunch of them at once. So hope that helps. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments, and I will reply to them.